Okay, I just wanted to give you guys a quick presentation on digestion. We'll try and work out, is your digestive system healthy? Okay, the 7 biggest causes of digestion problems. First one, number 1, is foods incorrect for your metabolism or metabolic type. Okay, so everyone has unique metabolisms depending on your ancestral heritage. It's largely written in your DNA what your metabolism prefers in terms of foods. Recent science now calls that eating according to your metabolic type. Okay, number 2, foods you personally are sensitized or intolerant to. So we're all aware of the food allergies, those peanuts and that with the school kids. This is slightly different. The sensitized foods or intolerant foods go largely unnoticed, but they cause inflammation in the gut and they cause digestion problems, so they need to be on this list. Okay, number 3 is processed foods. That one's pretty obvious. We'll get into various details about that in a minute. You can be inadequately hydrated and suffer from digestion problems. Okay, number 5 is insufficient hydrochloric acid or digestive enzyme production. 2 key things in regards to whether you're digesting a food or not. Number 6 is bacterial imbalances in the gut. So you might have too many bacteria there, or too little, or the wrong types of bacteria. And number 7 is pathogens living in the digestive tract. That's bugs. So usually people are pretty unaware that they're actually carrying a bug, even though they might have symptoms hinting towards that. Most doctors don't tend to check down that path, so a lot of these people go around for most of their life with these bugs that shouldn't necessarily be in their digestive tract present. Okay, so number 1, eat foods you are designed to eat. So we stated this in the previous slide. Eat foods according to your metabolism or metabolic type. So are you designed to eat meat or plants? There's actually quite a large variety within human metabolisms depending on your ancestral ability, your ancestral heritage, and it relates to your digestion ability. So some people are designed to eat meat, some people are designed to eat plants, and then there's a whole heap of people in between those facts. Okay, number 4, your digestive organs are actually made from those same foods. Well, that's true. So basically your digestive system, which is about 9 meters long, is made of certain nutrients. Depending on what your ancestral heritage is or what's written in your DNA will be largely what foods you need to be eating to keep that digestive system healthy. They're all made of cells and tissues, and those cells are made from nutrients that you have in your diet. So it can be a bit of a vicious circle if you haven't identified what you personally should be eating. It's not necessarily the right thing for your body, and it causes a bit of a vicious cycle. You end up breaking down your digestive system over time. Okay, so the last one, number 5, the foods your body wants is actually written in your DNA, as I just stated. It comes down through ancestral lines, thousands and thousands of years ago, but that still relates to exactly what you should be eating today in terms of the nutrients. DNA changes very slowly over time, extremely slowly. A lot of people like to blame it on their genes, or why they've got certain health problems, but in the last 100 or 200 years, your genes haven't changed whatsoever. Okay, so that's very important that you understand what you should be eating to fix your digestion problems. Okay, number 2 is avoid foods you are sensitized or intolerant to. So like I said before, unknown food sensitivities go largely undetected. They cause inflammation of the gut, bloating, pain, etc. That can be one symptom. If you can, there is testing available. You take a small blood sample and it can test for a certain known amount of foods, and it comes back with a chart that I'll show you in a minute on the next slide. Once you identify those foods, you blip them out of your diet for a 3 to 6 month period and allow the gut to heal. We'll go through why sensitized foods upset the gut and what happens inside on another slide in a minute. You will not, now it's important you realize it will not repair your gut when eating outside your metabolic type or while eating sensitized foods, especially if you're eating a lot of them. Food can be medicine or it can be poison. If you are sensitized to certain foods and you are eating a lot of them, it is basically like poison to your body, and it causes more inflammation, more digestive breakdown, so you really need to break that cycle. Once you identify all that, you know what you're eating in terms of your metabolic type, you've taken out your sensitized foods from your diet, it's important to follow a gut healing program for a minimum of 6 months to go about repairing all the damage that was done in the past. Okay, so food sensitivity test result. These are great little tests, these. Very hard to work out this sort of information on your own. A lot of nutritionists and dietitians try and do it that way through food elimination and the like. It tends to drive people crazy doing that, and they give up in the end. So it's much better to get formal testing done at the start, and you can clearly see on these charts here that it's in 4 zones. The green is very low reactivity, orange or yellow is like low, medium. We start to get into the orange, which is medium, and then we've got the bright orange, which is high reactivity. So you can see that this person has some reactivities going on. So casein, cheese, milk, mozzarella cheese, even yogurt, green beans, kidney beans, so even foods that you wouldn't necessarily associate with a food sensitivity, like not being a bread or a milk or something like that, you can still definitely have a food sensitivity towards it. So it's a great little test that clearly identifies. This one outlines 93 foods. You can quickly see which ones you should be avoiding. So great little test. Okay, processed foods. It seems to be surrounding us these days. Unfortunately, the chemicals in them are known gut irritants, so they're cancer causing. I'm sure the food scientists know that, but they taste good, they can sell them in high amounts, and they're quite cheap to produce, so as long as the money's pouring in for them, they obviously don't care, I think. So some of the worst offenders are the white milk, white rice, white flour, white bread, white sugar, and soy. Okay, so you notice all the white ones, they're known as the white devils in terms of foods, and soy has massive digestion problems. In fact, soy is not a health food, so anyone actually drinking or using soy in their diet, please stop. It's a known gut irritant, it causes hormonal imbalances. 1 glass of soy is actually equal to 1 birth control pill. You might not be aware of that, but it has that sort of impact inside your body. Okay, packaging. These days you walk down Coles or Woolies and you've got canned, plastic wrapped, plastic bottled, everything sort of comes in a container of some type. Those packagings, they do leak, so from canning you can get BPA, Teflon linings that are leaching into your food. The plastics release phthalates and the like, and the plastic bottled, if you've got like vegetable cooking oils, that plastic actually comes out into the oils. Plastics are really bad when you're wrapping meat or oils or a fatty type food, so just stay away from them if you can. Okay, so processed foods are largely a mix of sugars, salts or fats. Those 3 flavors are our main turn-ons. So once you get even a grain of sugar on your tongue, it's quite a stimulatory response. You want more and more and more. Same with salts and same with fats. So the food manufacturers play around with those 3 ingredients. They load them up. Usually processed foods are just a combination of 1 or all 3 of them, or 2. And they're designed so you can't stop at 1. There's a section in your brain called the apistat that actually registers nutrition. Now when you eat a sugar or a salt or a fat and it's a processed one, yes, it tastes fantastic, and it hits that apistat and it says, okay, we'll keep eating until nutrition arrives. But because there's no nutrition in packaged food, you sort of tricks the body into eating and eating and eating, and you can't stop at 1. So just be aware that all these foods are designed to do that. So it's not necessarily your fault that you've just finished that pack of chips or something. It was designed to be like that. Okay, so important stuff. Alright, number 4 is adequate hydration. So a few facts that you probably won't get anyone else to tell you, but it's an actual critical function of your digestive system, that during an average meal your body mobilizes some 8 to 10 litres of fluid in and out of your digestive system. Now that's equivalent to about a household bucket, so it's a fair amount of volume. If you are dehydrated, you greatly reduce this natural function within your body. Enzymes like to swim around in water, so if you're dehydrated, enzyme activity drops significantly. Enzymes are responsible for nutrition, so reduced enzyme function will give you reduced nutrition. No enzymes and no nutrition. So very important to be adequately hydrated during the day and before meals. Try and not drink too much after your meals as well, because it tends to put out that fire of your digestion. Okay, number 5, the role of stomach acid and digestive enzymes. So stomach acid kills bugs. We swallow millions of bugs every day. That's why it's in our stomach. It helps activate a mineral assimilation hormone or enzyme called pepsin. which helps break down proteins. As I said there, it's also for mineral assimilation, so if you've got calcium problems, osteoporosis, it's important that you have enough pepsin getting released from your stomach and enough acid production as well. Okay, so we have various enzymes released from the pancreas, the liver and the gallbladder to help us digest. The most common one is bile from the gallbladder. There's obviously various other ones with the liver and the pancreas, and they're super important to overall digestion. It breaks the food down into usable nutrients, okay, so it brings the food from the outside world into a usable form for the cells, tissues, organs and glands of your body. And as we stated on the previous slide, no enzymes equals no nutrition, which equals no life. So critically important to have adequate enzyme production in your body, and if you don't or you're suffering, then you supplement in the meantime until you correct that issue. Okay, number 6, there's not many people are aware of this, but there's imbalances in the gut. One of the nastier ones that lives in your stomach, or can live in your stomach, is Helicobacter pylori. So there's specific testing we send you off for to determine whether you have that bug. We've all heard about candida and the overgrowth of candida. Be aware that it's an opportunistic organism, so it will only proliferate when conditions are right. It's a little bit like having a damp corner on a balcony out of the sun in the shade. It will eventually grow mold. It's an opportunistic organism, mold. All you have to do is just dry it out, get rid of the moisture, give it a bit of sun. Very similar to the inside of your digestive system. You correct the pH, you correct the environment, and you will automatically control candida. If you do have candida, just be aware that it's also an immune problem, and many people try and chase it just through diet alone, but it's critically important to get your immune system as strong as possible to control the overgrowth. Okay, there's various other viruses and bacterial imbalances you can have through your gut. You've probably heard of probiotics, which are pro-bio, which is pro-life. Antibiotics, interestingly enough, are called anti-life. That's what the actual name means. So antibiotics will affect these bacterial imbalances over time. If you've got little stomach acid, you can introduce viruses, stuff like that. So be aware, take some high quality probiotics, which we teach you how to do. And then be aware that the nerves coming from your spine also talk to your gut as well. So you could have a sore lower back because you're constantly bloated in the stomach. Those same nerves not only feed the muscles, but they also talk and communicate to your intestines. If you're bloated or suffering pain in that area, then it will turn down the nerve signal, otherwise you'll be keeling over in pain. What it also does is it turns off your back muscles as well, so bloating and that can lead to lower back can lead to bloating. Very interesting system, that one, how they both interact. So just be aware if you've got a low sore lower back or anything along your back in terms of nerves, just go along and see your chiropractor. He'll give you an assessment and we can get those nerves talking to your intestines a little bit better. Okay, not many people know that, so it's quite important. Okay, so here's a nice little diagram. We've got a lady there suffering from a bit of bloating and pain. The diagram on the right at the top shows you what's basically going on inside her. So in the intestine, you've got food allergies or insensitivities and inflammation that we've gone through. That can lead to fungal infections, bloating, wind. You can see on the next one across the organs of the small intestine, then the nerve channels. You can see the spine there. Those nerves also, like we just said, talk to the colon, the small intestine, and all the muscles around that abdominal wall and your back. Okay, so the way to get that fixed is you'll go, well, that results, in the bottom left one, then you end up with leaky gut. So you have small holes in your intestine that are entire food particles are going through. So rather than proteins down to the amino acid level or carbohydrates down to the glucose level, we have entire food particles entering the bloodstream. That causes another whole host of problems, especially in regards to your immune system. The immune system tends to identify them as invaders, tries to drag them down to the liver and destroy them there. If your liver's unusually busy or full, it will push them back out and they settle in joints and stuff, which is why we get osteoarthritis in joints or whatever. It's the food antigens that are actually resting in those joints because the liver can't cope with it. So one of the ways out of there, as we've discussed, is to address your food sensitivities but also clear your liver. Okay, so now that you're eating the right foods, you've addressed all your food sensitivities, you've got a little bit of a gut healing program on, you'll find just to the right on the bottom there that it starts to settle down that whole system. The inflammation starts to disappear, the fungal infections start to reduce, the bloating starts to go away, any wind or gas or belching or burping goes away as well. That innervates the nerves, turns the muscles back on because they're not so stimulated the whole time, or because of the pain, so they turn down their signal, as we stated, and you end up with a nice flat tummy. Okay, so that's pretty much what's happening inside your body when you eat a sensitized food or a food wrong for your metabolism, and that's the path back out of it, is to address all those issues that cause it in the first place. One of the worst things you can do is start taking protein pump inhibitors or anything designed to stop the acid production in the stomach or interfere with any digestion in the small intestine. So it's critically important. Okay, so just as a quick recap, the inability to digest something results in inflammation, and as a result of the inflammation there is tissue breakdown. Constant tissue breakdown of your digestive system will eventually lead to other problems such as fatigue, sleep difficulties, irritability, hormonal imbalances, nutritional imbalances, mood problems, and so on. That's usually the state where most people decide to come and see me. They always usually have a gut issue centered behind this, as well as probably a couple of other things going on depending on the client. So just be aware, when you suffer from digestion problems, you have lost function in your gut. When you lose the function, the symptoms appear. At 100% function, everything goes well, you have no symptoms. So the aim of any gut healing program in that regard is to restore function to your digestive system. In doing so, your digestion problems will naturally fade away. So don't chase the symptoms, tend to chase the cause behind these issues. Okay, so here's a little quick questionnaire we can go through to work out, is your digestive system healthy? Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you answer a yes on this questionnaire on any one of the points, give yourself 1 point. If you answer no, give yourself a 0. Okay, so yes, 1 point, no, no points. Okay, question 1, do you experience lower abdominal bloating? If you do, and the answer is yes, give yourself 1 point. Question 2, do you frequently have loose stools or diarrhea? If that's a yes, give yourself 1 point. Question 3, do you frequently have constipation or stools that are hard to pass? If that's a yes, give yourself 1 point. Question 4, do you belch or burp after meals? If that's a yes, give yourself 1 point. Question 5, do you frequently have gas? If so, then give yourself 1 point. Question 6, do you frequently have a headache after eating? If so, give yourself 1 point. Question 7, do you crave certain foods like bread, chocolate, fruit, or red meat? If that's the case, then give yourself 1 point. Question 8, do you have a poor appetite and or feel worse after eating? If you find that that's happening regularly, then give yourself 1 point. Question 9, do you have an excessive appetite or crave sweets? Especially after meals or something like that, then if that's a yes, give yourself 1 point. Question 10, do you experience abdominal pain, cramps, or discomfort? That's a big one, that one, so if that's the case, then give yourself 1 point. Okay, now add up all your points and you will get a total. To score them out, we'll go to the bottom in the red. So if you scored between 0 and 2, then it's not too bad. Your digestive health is actually quite good. If you scored between 2 and 4, you should address your issues to do with your digestive health sooner rather than later. If you score between 4 and 6, you definitely have some sort of problem with your digestive health, and seek the help of a professional. Digestion is the key to life, so you, like we said, you'll have multiple problems if you don't start approaching that with some urgency. And 6 and above, you need to address your intestinal health as a matter of urgency. Okay, so that's a nice little questionnaire. See where you came out with it, see what the action steps are afterwards, and try and put some of the things that we've mentioned into effect with this presentation. Okay, so here's what we call the pooping lineup, just a little bit of fun before we go. Okay, so you've got the gold standard on the right, the poopy policeman. Okay, so here's what you should be aiming for each day. The definition of being constipated is anything other than not passing 12 inches of fecal matter per day. That can be in 2 lots of 6 inches, 1 lot of 12, 3 lots of 4, 4 lots of 3, it doesn't really matter. You just tend to want to be shifting about 12 inches of fecal matter a day. It should be easy to pass. It doesn't matter whether it floats or sinks. There's a bit of nonsense going out there in the marketplace. If they sink or if they float, there's problems, or you want them to float, whatever they're saying. Not necessarily true. Okay, so then you've got various problems with your digestive system. So you can see there, starting from the right next to the policeman, we've got undigested food particles still present in the stool. That means that you're very low on those digestive enzymes that we mentioned in the hydrochloric acid. Next one in is that sort of fat globule one you see, very hard to flush down the toilet. They tend to skid around on the bowl a little bit. You're simply not digesting fats with that, so that's either a problem with your metabolism, you're not really designed to eat that many fats and your body is having trouble digesting it, or there's some other issues going on as well. Okay, next one in is like that sort of rabbit poop one you see. That's just dehydration, so that person needs a lot more water in their diet. The next one in is very similar. They're probably dehydrated and they're also not having enough fibre, so the stools are very compacted, very hard, due to the peristalsis action, which is the natural action to move produce along your digestive system. Then we've got next to that guy, the tall skinny guy, he's like mucousy, or stools that are coated in some sort of mucus. And then the last one there you see with the cigarette is the toxic stool, so they're very smelly. You notice definitely when you pass one of those. It can be multiple of issues, it can be coming from your foods, your environment, can be problems internally with bugs, so just be aware that that's the most toxic one you can have. But all of them represent a problem. You basically want the poopy policeman on the right. That's your ideal. So if you're producing any one of those on the left, then it's time to look into your digestive system, because you will only have other problems happening after that. Okay, so good little picture anyway. Okay, so I just wanted to draw you to some resources that we've got. There's a great website with lots of articles, blogs and videos on all this sort of stuff. We've got heaps up there on digestion, tips and tricks on how to go about fixing yours. If you'd like an actual guide to do it, we've got a program called Unlock More from Life, which is 29-step path to go about identifying what foods you should be eating. We do some food sensitivity testing on top of that. We set your hydration levels, what foods you should be eating. We pretty much go through everything to do with your diet, exercise and lifestyle, working out what's causing the symptoms that you have, and we design a program for you that you can follow in the privacy of your own home. It's a bit like a novel. Start from the first word, finish at the last word, and it takes you on a journey. At the end of it, you'll be feeling greatly improved. You'll look better, you'll operate better, and you'll feel better. So there's some great resources for you. Okay, well that's pretty much the end of the presentation on digestion. Thank you for joining us today. Any questions, by all means email. Have a look at the articles on the site, the videos, and yeah, thank you for joining us. Okay, bye.